Hi, it's Lori from Resale Butler, and I have just a short chat, something for us to think about as resellers today. This is something that I kind of sparked some conversation in our resale group on Facebook because I shared Tech and Sports' latest video talking about reselling and retiring from reselling. And so I felt like it was definitely worthy to have a chat about, kind of just spread the word. Maybe you're feeling this, maybe you're wondering what's going on, and this could possibly be an answer. And I say possibly because none of us know for sure. It's just speculation, so just keep that in mind. This is my opinion, it was his opinion, and I'm going to just basically say it in my own words of how I felt like what he was saying. So basically, we talk about how the industry is slowing down. I've noticed since January that there's a lot of resellers that I follow and collaborate with. Their sales are going down substantially and consistently. Every day, you could go to a Facebook group that's for resellers and find somebody saying their sales will slow down. Why? What am I doing wrong? I don't understand. I'm doing all the same things that I used to do, and I have been in that group. And there are times, definitely, you guys, there's times where it is the platform that you're on. They've made a change. They're instituting new ways of doing business, and it's going to slow down your views, and you're going to have less sales. Google changed how things were advertised in 2021, and we saw a huge slowdown then, and that's because Poshmark and eBay no longer was showing up as much in Google because Google was making it more fair for the actual free people website compared to pre-owned. I do see that maybe there's been some changes behind the scenes because now eBay and Poshmark is again over the last year showing up more in Google searches. So let's keep all that in mind, that there's a million different reasons, but there's just a few that I want to touch on and talk about. First of all, in 2020, when we had the pandemic, people had so much time on their hands and a lot of them couldn't work. And a lot of people that were working didn't get unemployment. They didn't get any help. So they started selling things directly out of their house. And because everybody was at home, there were also a lot of buyers that was buying from online sites more than going out shopping out in the real world at department stores. So you got to keep that in mind. Two things happened in 2020. We saw a huge influx of buyers, but we also had a huge influx of new sellers. So there's a lot more competition just with us resellers alone. And so often I see this welcoming gesture, and I do think that it is very kind to say is that there's room for all of us. There is not room for all of us to find the best stuff. And as being a wholesaler, I can tell you that wholeheartedly, that everybody's looking for the very best items. They want 100% resale rate. They want to sell it for over $40. Who doesn't, right? But there's not enough of that stuff out there for every single one of us resellers to find that stuff. So that kind of plays into what I'm saying. There's not room for all of us in this industry, and the ones that figure out how to make it work are the ones that's going to stay on top. So it takes continuous education, educating yourself, what's selling, adapting, and adapting is a big one. Adapting is hard to do. When we had a business plan that was working fine, and then all of a sudden it's not, it's hard to blame it on the business plan, because it was working for so long. It can happen in a matter of 24 hours or over a few months that things change and it's no longer working. So let me give you a sample, my opinion, why that is. We have Shop Goodwill come out. We all giggled at Shop Goodwill because the prices were crazy, what they was asking. Still to me, like the photographs leave a lot to be desired still now today. But they're growing and they're gaining momentum, and they have employees and they have positions available that I've seen myself in my own state, where they're sending people out to shop in the blue bins with all of us out at the Goodwill outlets. They have people in the back already that are pulling a certain item so that they can sell it on Shop Goodwill. So therefore, there's less for us to find. There's more competition, and Goodwill by far could take away a lot of us resellers' jobs if they ever work it out correctly, to be honest with you. I don't know that they're there yet, but they could be, and very soon. Then we also have ThredUp. ThredUp is a thrift store, right? A lot of people buy ThredUp boxes and they go in retail arbitrage to resell to somebody that might perhaps, like, this is one of the things I've said many times. People will say to me, how can you go into Goodwill and pay $5 for something and turn around and sell it for $35 when nobody in that store wanted it? Well, it's because not all eyes was on it, right? There might be 100 shoppers that day that looked at that item, whereas on Poshmark and eBay, there might be 10,000 people that look at it if we're lucky. So, you have more of a chance of catching that customer. That's what ThredUp can do. ThredUp can catch that customer because they have an influx of items. So they're growing. Then we have so many other websites like that that's starting up. A lot of people selling wholesale, selling lower. Then we introduce lives. Live shows is a wonderful thing, but at the same time, it's changed how we do business. Why did it change how we do business? Because people are expecting lower prices. People that enjoy going to lives, which, we got to keep in mind, like myself, if I want to buy something, I want to go out and search it and buy it and get it over with. I'm not the type of shopper that enjoys going out and looking for a white blouse of a specific kind and having to go to 3 or 4 stores in a department store, or go to a website, a platform that doesn't have a great search and finding everything else but a white blouse. To me, that's aggravating, let alone sitting through a live to see if they might have a white blouse in my size. However, there's an excitement about it, and there's a whole bunch of people that love to watch the auction sites. They love to go to auctions. Have you guys ever went to a live auction where they're selling furniture in somebody's estate? It is the most exciting thing that you can go to. It's entertainment, first of all, but it's also that edge of, I'm going to outbid somebody else. I'm going to end up with the item. I'm going to win, right? It's like sports. You're going to win that item. So understand there's a lot of people that enjoy live shows for those reasons, but it's competing with us. So now we have all these websites competing with us. We have lives competing with us. We have more people in the community, resellers, competing with us. We have a lot of competition. And here's the problem with that. Not only do we have competition right now, but we have thrift stores raising their prices. We have liquidation companies having to raise their prices. Why? Well, because there's wars out and there's wars going on that's raising the gas prices, raising the overall prices that they pay for items. There's manufacturers not manufacturing as much as they used to, so there's not a lot of leftovers, or not, there's not a lot, I shouldn't say that. There's not as many leftovers as there used to be to liquidate wholesale, like B-Stock and those type of places, Fox Liquidation, that's what I'm talking about. So there's less of that coming into them, so they're going to have to charge more to keep their staff paid, right, and their bills paid. Also, the gas to get it to them is costing more, so shipping costs more for us to purchase things. So the price of items are going up. Then let's look at the world news. I mean, oh my gosh. I am 54 years old, and I'll be honest with you, up until the last 8 years, I probably didn't follow a lot of politics or world news because to me it was overwhelming. So perhaps I am not educated enough to say what I'm getting ready to say. So just understand this is my opinion from my viewpoint. We have wars going on in several areas. I mean, Israel is at war. That's a big deal. Ukraine and Russia is at war. We got Russia, our government's trying to scare us with Russia. Should we be scared of Russia? I don't know. Maybe we should. Maybe we shouldn't, but it's casting doubt in our country. So therefore people are spending less because they're preparing for the worst. They're scared. Stocks begin to dive. AI is raising while other things are lowering. So there's a lot going on in the resale industry that's going to cause us to have to pivot in a new direction. And that doesn't mean pivoting out of reselling. That means you've got to look at what you're buying. You've got to look at your sell-through rate. You've got to look at, maybe you want to be, there's like different ways of doing business. So I say that, look at your resale rate, and somebody might be thinking, well, Lori, I can't find those things that people sell for $50 to $100. Me either. Very rarely do I. Now that I'm going out farther as a wholesaler, I'm finding it a lot more. But that was not feasible for me for many years. Now it is. So see, that's where I'm pivoting. I'm going 2 or 3 hours away from my hometown to find better items. And I've got to find those items because I just spent gas and money that I would have never had to do before. So you've got to balance, and balancing is super hard to do. It's a challenge, but it's something that we need to do. So what I'm suggesting to you guys is take a hard look at your business. See what you can change. See if maybe a different business model, which I was getting ready to mention, is a good option for you. So for example, when I first started off on Poshmark, I gave up on it twice because I didn't make any sales in 3 months. I was selling hard goods on eBay, and I went to selling clothing. I thought, I'll try it on Poshmark first. So I did, and I didn't do anything. It was horrible. I'm like, I gave up on it. I'm like, I don't want to deal with this. Kind of like Depop, but I'm still there. Maybe I need to try a bit harder on Depop because I've started that 3 times as well and quit. But I then made a full-time income on Poshmark. And how did I do it? I done it by listing 17 items a day that I could find from the Goodwill bins quickly and cheaply. And they were brands and maybe styles that not everybody wanted. It may not have been current trend, but not all of us are trendy. Matter of fact, in Indiana, the t-shirt and jeans, tennis shoes state, for the most part, we're not trying to be trendy and be able to walk on the red carpet. We're just casual, normal people. So therefore, that's what I found. I found casual, normal people things that might have been 5 years old, but we're still wearing it, right? Because that's where I'm at. So I sold those things, and I sold those things very cheaply. So I sold a lot of things because I sold them cheaply. But then I pivoted because I was worrying myself out packaging, and I decided, well, this isn't really the business model for me. I don't want a fast turnover rate due to pricing. So I started picking up quirky, vintage, unique, and I priced them up, and I started in the fall because the fall is when you find the blazers, the sweaters, all the good stuff that can sell for more. Summer's a lot harder to get started in. So then I had that business model where I was buying less, I was selling less, but I was making the same amount of money as when I was selling 240 items a week. You guys can imagine packaging 240 items. It was really hard. To selling more like around 80 items, but making the same amount of money. But then when the lights went out on Poshmark, when they changed the algorithm or done what they done, and I think a lot of it had to do with Google and money, and it's not something a business is going to divulge to us because it's none of our business. It would be nice to know, because then I think they would have gained a lot of trust in our community. And this is speculation, total 100% speculation, and I am probably wrong, okay? But to me, because of my knowledge of Google, I know Google changed things so that it would be more fair, like I mentioned early on. And that was about the same time that the lights went out on Poshmark. And then not too long after that, I started seeing the same thing with eBay, and especially this year. And you notice that they're doing promoted closets, and they're doing different things, like eBay has directly marketing to Google. I forget what that's called, but I think that's to help us pay for the huge price change in advertising or being linked to whatever that's called, Google. So, there's changes. In this conversation, have you not seen a million changes? Even if I don't speak eloquently, I don't even have correct grammar, I apologize. I'm dyslexic, and I never excelled at that. So I apologize, but I do have a brain, and I have been in this industry, and I've been in reselling 32 years. I started when I was 18 years old at flea markets. I then owned a flea market for 8 years in antique malls, and I had 3 of them, and I had a shop in the mall, and I've done box stores. And I was successful up until I wasn't successful, just like with a lot of us reselling. So just don't be afraid and think it's just you. I do want to suggest to you guys, many of you that come to me or in our group and say your sales are slow, it is because of what you're picking out. It's because of your photos. It's because you're not putting enough stuff in your titles and in your descriptions. And I have a really good friend. Her name is Jonna Ogden. And you can find her on Facebook and Instagram as PeatandRepeat. And I do believe that's P-E-A-T-N, repeat, R-E-P-E-A-T. So find her on Instagram and get a closet consultation if you're on Poshmark. She's going to tell you what keywords to use. She's going to tell you about your title. I also have information about that as well. I actually offer a service on resellbutler.com where I make the titles and the description for you, or the staff does. So if you don't want to learn how to do it, you can always have someone else do it. But those are your keys to selling more in general. But for a seasoned reseller, you know what you're doing. You do SEO titles, you do good descriptions, you pick up good items. If you're seeing a decline, it is time to pivot. It's time to figure out what you need to do. Okay, well, I hope this was helpful and not too ranty or rambling. But when I watched his video, I had someone on my Facebook page say to me, I don't understand what he's saying. And I felt like I did. I totally related and it made sense to me. So I thought I would put it in my own words and just spread the word so you know you're not alone. And there's many of us out there that has a different viewpoint on reselling today, and that reselling has completely changed and will continue to change. Now, will everything reverse in a year? Maybe, maybe not. So just be prepared and be ready to pivot, be ready to restructure your business for a good, profitable business. Now, you guys, go over to resellbutler.com and get you some goodies. We have wholesale boxes that are manifested, shows you exactly what's in the lot. And yes, you're paying a little bit more for the items, but you're paying for us, the professional shopper that knows what to pick up, is looking for the flaws, doing the comps and all that stuff before it ever comes to you. All right. Again, I'm Lori, and I'll see you next time. Bye.